So here we will start next 17th group. P block elements 17th group. 17th group elements also called halogens or fluorine family. So what are they? Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. They are the 17th group elements. They are called halogens. Why they are called halogens here? Here this fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine, generally they can form salts. They are having salt producing nature. Elements which are having salt producing nature are called halogens. So they are the salt producers. And it's called halogens. You can see the halogens. We have the fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine, and a new element newly discovered, tennessine. TS. Again, if you see the general electronic configuration of this halogen family, NS2,
Sir,
NP5 configuration. TS, tennessine. Tennessine. General electronic configuration NS2 NP5. You see the atomic number, anyhow again you can apply the magic number. If you know the first element, the remaining elements we can identify. Fluorine, atomic number 9. Then if add 18, you will get 17 for chlorine. Then after you have to add 18. Then bromine 35. Again 18, 53. Then after 32, 85. Again 32, 117. So these are the atomic numbers. And their electronic configuration by using the general electronic configuration, fluorine. It is a second period element. So valency shell 2s2 2p5 configuration. And a chlorine, it is a third period 3s2 3p5 configuration. Bromine, argon 3d10 4s2 4p5, and this is krypton 4d10 5s2 5p5. This is astatine, xenon 4f14 5d10 6s2 6p5. Tennessine, and this is a radon configuration 5f14 6d10 7s2 7p5. These are the electronic configurations. Here first four elements, they are fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. These are non-metals, all four. And astatine and tennessine, they are radioactive elements. They are radioactive in nature. So we will not worry much about these two radioactive elements. So our main focus is on the first four, fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine. So they are non-metals. Again, the important general properties, chemical properties, everything we will discuss about these first four elements, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. That we will see here. The general properties of these elements. First, if you see the occurrence. Here mainly fluorine can occur as insoluble fluorides like calcium fluoride, cryolite and fluorapatite. Is the main abundance of fluorine. abundance or occurrence. So your fluorine can mainly occur as insoluble fluorides. Insoluble fluorides like calcium fluoride. This is called fluorspar. And sodium aluminum fluoride Na3Al6 AlF6. This is a cryolite. And fluorapatite, this already we have discussed at the time of phosphorus. Ca3PO4 taken twice Cf. This is a fluorapatite. So like this, fluorine can be occur as a fluorspar, a cryolite, and a fluorapatite. Next elements, chlorine, bromine, iodine, mainly they can available as the chlorides, bromides and iodides in seawater. Mainly chlorine and bromine and iodine. They may mainly occur in seawater. Seawater, it consisting of so many types of salts. Which type of salt? They are mainly chlorides, bromides and iodides only. Means sodium chloride, sodium bromide, means sodium, potassium, rubidium, these salts, metal halide, metal chloride, metal bromide and metal iodides. So occur in seawater as chlorides or bromides and iodides. Of sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, mainly these, etc. So out of all, the main content is the sodium chloride. Seawater contains the most amount in sodium chloride. We can extract sodium chloride. This is a table salt from the seawater only. Preparation of sodium chloride. Physical state. Physical state of halogens. Here, fluorine and chlorine both occur as gases. And bromine is a liquid, and whereas iodine is a solid. Chlorine gas, bromine is a liquid and iodine solid. And if you see their atomicity, all are homodiatomic in nature. If they ask atomicity, all are homodiatomic. So they can exist like X2 halogens, fluorines, F2, Cl2, Br2 and I2. And the color properties. This is also very important. Color of halogens. You have fluorine, means F2. It is yellow in color. And Cl2 chlorine, this is greenish yellow. Next, bromine. So bromine liquid, it is a reddish brown liquid. Reddish brown liquid. And next, iodine. Iodine is a solid. and this is violet color. So these are the colors of fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine. And these colors, see top to bottom, from fluorine to chlorine, chlorine to bromine, bromine to iodine, the color intensity is increasing. And this color intensity we can explain based on their HOMO-LUMO gap. This we have studied at the time of chemical bonding molecular orbital theory, HOMO and LUMO orbitals. So highly occupied molecular orbitals and lowest unoccupied molecular orbitals. Highest occupied and lowest unoccupied. That is according to electron distribution. If highest occupied means is a kind of the valency shell, we can say here, and the lowest unoccupied means next to the valency shell, and that is the HOMO-LUMO orbitals. So now we will see here a molecular orbital of F2Cl2Br2. If we take, we have a kind of lost orbital where electrons can occupy, and immediately the orbitals, so which are vacant. So this is called HOMO, highest occupied molecular orbital, and next to this is a LUMO, lowest unoccupied molecular orbital. Over this we have again various orbitals, and here also we have various orbitals, molecular orbitals. So out of all molecular orbitals, the molecular orbitals which is present with the lost electrons with the highest energy, occupied molecular orbital with the highest energy is a HOMO, and over that we have the molecular orbitals which are having lowest energy with unoccupied molecular orbitals with the lowest energy is LUMO orbital. Now the gap between this HOMO and LUMO, see here, this is a gap, HOMO-LUMO gap. So here this HOMO-LUMO gap depends. If the gap is more, the intensity of color is less. If the gap is less, the intensity of color is more. Generally, if some light falls here, the electrons which are present in the HOMO orbital, they can absorb their energy and they'll excite into the LUMO, lowest unoccupied molecular orbitals. Again, whenever they come back to the ground state, means there is a HOMO orbital, they emit some radiation. If that emitted radiation falls in the visible region, then we can see the characteristic color. So here, to excite this electron, the gap should be minimum. Then only the electron can excite. So if the gap is minimum, it can absorb less amount of energy. When it absorbs less energy, emits more energy. Energy absorption and energy emission, they are complementary in nature, or also the wavelength absorbed and wavelength emitted, or the light absorbed, characteristic light, color absorbed and emitted light, they are complementary in nature. If low energy absorbs, they emits high energy. If low wavelength they absorb, they emits high wavelength, like that. So depends on the gap. If gap is minimum, you can see more intense color. If gap is more, we can see less intense color. In case of fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, the HOMO-LUMO gap order is like this. Here fluorine is having more gap due to the more electronegativity, then after chlorine and bromine and iodine. And this is a HOMO-LUMO gap. We know that if the gap is more, the intensity of color is less. That is why yellow means less intense color, violet means more intense color. So iodine can show high intense color than the fluorine. And the next, bond dissociation energies. Before that, we will see the regular properties here. That is atomic radii, ionization energies, everything. First, we will go with some physical trends, top to bottom. Atomic radii. Now tell me, atomic radii top to bottom, generally all groups, so it increases except the 13th group. Top to bottom, atomic radii increases from fluorine to the tennessine. But mainly we will take first four, fluorine, chlorine, let me take atomic level, bromine and iodine. Next, immediately we have the ionization energy. Ionization energy quite opposite to the atomic radii, top to bottom. If atomic radii increases, ionization energy decreases. Top to bottom, ionization energy decreases. Then electronegativity. This is very important. Electronegativity order. Top to bottom electronegativity decreases, but fluorine is the highest electronegativity element overall in the periodic table. Then after chlorine, bromine, iodine. This order is important. Electronegativity order. Top to bottom decreases. One more important point here, electron gain enthalpy or electron affinity. Or sometimes we can say electron affinity. This is also very important. General electron gain enthalpy values top to bottom decreases, but we can see some anomalous behavior between second and third period elements. Most of the cases, second period element, they are having less electron gain enthalpy than third period elements. That is due to the small size of second, some abnormal behavior of second period elements. So similarly here, electron gain enthalpy of these group elements is like this. Chlorine is more electron gain enthalpy than fluorine, then bromine and iodine. Like 16th group, 17th group elements, ionize these electron gain enthalpy values are very important. So even though fluorine, it has more electronegativity, but it has less electron gain enthalpy. Even though fluorine is the highest electronegativity element in the periodic table, but to attract electron or to gain electron, after gaining electron, it should releases energy, and that energy is less in case of fluorine compared to the chlorine. So here all these electron gain enthalpy values, they are negative in nature, means exothermic in nature, and electron affinity means they can attract electrons. So these electron affinity values are positive. This is only the sign notation, whether the process, it indicates the process, whether the feasibility, whether the reaction can take place or not. But electron gain enthalpy means this is a magnitude values, energies, how much energy released or how much energy absorbed. In case of, you compare both chlorine and fluorine. Chlorine atomic number 17. So it has, this is a nucleus. It has 3 shells, first shell, second shell and third shell. And similarly fluorine atomic number 9, nucleus, it has 2 shells. The valency electronic configuration 2s2 2p, here 3s2 3p5. So valency shell contains 3s2 3p5 electrons. Here valency shell contains 2s2 2p5 electrons. And due to the more electronegative in nature, the fluorine has a tendency to accept electron. Electron gain enthalpy means it is energy released when an electron is added to the valency shell of isolated gaseous atom. Let us take both chlorine and fluorine, they are isolated gaseous atoms. In case of fluorine, if add one electron externally into the valency shell of fluorine, then this fluorine can attract that electron very easily. Then here attractive power, generally there decreases the energy. So the excess energy can release. It releases the excess energy in the form of negative energy. Releasing energy generally we can take negative. That is called exothermic in nature. Similarly, chlorine case also it can accept electron. This is also more electronegative, almost third place in the periodic table after nitrogen. Chlorine both are equal. So when accept electron from externally, when you add electron to the valency shell, here also due to the more electronegativity, it can accept electron and it releases energy. Here also energy releases. Both the case energy releases, but the magnitude of released energy in case of chlorine is more. Here more negative value we can observe than the fluorine. Here less negative values. Why? Because even though fluorine is having the tendency to accept electron is more due to the more electronegativity. The other reason is we have to add electron to the valency shell. Here valency shell can accommodate. This is in case of fluorine, the valency shell is the second shell. So we are adding electron to the second shell, where the second shell can accommodate a maximum 2s2 2p5. One more electron we can add. So it can accommodate maximum 8 electrons only. So we have the space around this fluorine with 8 electrons availability. You can accommodate 8 electrons. But whereas in case of chlorine, if you see, we are in case of chlorine, we have to add electron to the valency shell. Here valency shell is 3s2 3p5, but third shell also contains 3d subshell. So 3d is 0. So already 7 electrons are there. We are adding one more electrons, 8 electrons. But how much space availability is there? You can accommodate 18 electrons here. 18 electrons means it has more space, but 8 electrons means it has a less space. So already 7 electrons are there. When you add externally one more electron, you can observe electron-electron repulsions here. So electron-electron repulsions are more in case of fluorine than chlorine. In case of chlorine, so electrons may be present a little bit far away. Why? Because a lot of space is available. So these 7 electrons, already presented 7 electrons may be present very far, and you can add comfortably one more extra electron. So electron-electron repulsions in case of chlorine is less. If electron-electron repulsions less means we can add electron very comfortably in case of chlorine than in case of fluorine. That is why chlorine can release more amount of energy by accepting electrons very comfortably. But whereas a fluorine, it cannot, it can accept, but this is only comparative study. With respect to chlorine, it is less, released energy is little less. That is why chlorine releases more amount of energy than fluorine, even though fluorine is more electronegative. The main reason is fluorine, the size is less. Due to the small size, it cannot accommodate electrons without electron-electron repulsions.
Sir, can
Next, one more important order here, bond dissociation energy. This is also very, very important. Bond dissociation energy. Means the bond between XX, halogen-halogen bond dissociation energies. If you see fluorine and fluorine, next to chlorine, bromine, and iodine. And to break this bond, 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 the energy required, that is bond dissociation energy or bond dissociation enthalpy. Sometimes instead of energy, they may use another word, enthalpy. Enthalpy, energy, both are the same. Now, which is having more bond dissociation energy? So here the order is, again we may expect that top to bottom the size increases, so bond distance increases. If the bond distance increases means there is a weaker bond. So weaker bond can break very easily, and fluorine is a smaller size, so fluorine bond energy should be more than the chlorine, bromine, iodine. This we may expect. But actually experimental order is chlorine bond dissociation energy is more than bromine, then fluorine. You can see again some abnormal order here, then after iodine. Why it is? Why again fluorine bond dissociation energy is very less compared to chlorine and bromine? And this was explained the scientist Coulson. According to Coulson, due to the inter-electronic repulsions. In case of fluorine, you see each, not only in case of fluorine, in case of chlorine, bromine, iodine also, we can see the each atom, it has a 3 electron pair, 3 lone pairs. Due to the presence of these lone pairs, anyhow the size is very small here, they may present very close to each other. Due to the presence of very closeness, we have the more inter-electronic repulsions between fluorine and fluorine compared to chlorine, bromine, and iodine. Why? Because they are present very close to each other due to the small size. And these inter-electronic repulsions will dominate. These inter-electronic repulsions can weaken the bond. Then if the bond is weaker, you can break this bond very easily. So that is why compared to chlorine and bromine, fluorine is having less bond dissociation energy. So according to Coulson, due to strong inter-electron repulsions, So in case of fluorine, the interelectron repulsions are very high compared to chlorine, bromine and iodine. So this is ordered. Fluorine, bromine, fluorine, iodine is very, very important. Just you can take this.
Sir, ఎవరు చెప్పారు అని సైంటిస్ట్
Next, hydration enthalpy. Hydration enthalpy or hydration energy. We have the fluoride ion and the chloride ion, bromide ion and iodide ion. When these gaseous ions, if we add to the water molecules can surround around these ions. Then the energy can be released. That released energy we can call hydration energy. If solvent is the water, we can say hydration. Instead of water, if you use some X solvent, that energy we can call solvation energy. Hydration or solvation energy. Solvent, but generally we'll take water only. So hydration energy. We know that hydration energy is directly proportional to charge present on the ion by size of the ion. Anyhow, charge is the same, all the case, negative charge and size. So as the size increases, hydration energy decreases. Size decreases, hydration energy increases. If the size of the ion decreases, hydration energy increases. Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, fluorine size is very less. So fluoride ion is having high hydration enthalpy than chlorine, then bromine. This is much high. Not only high, much higher compared to the chlorine, bromine and iodine. High hydration enthalpy. Similarly, lithium also. If you see, in case of first A group elements, lithium is having high hydration energy. The abnormal behavior of lithium is, this is one of the factor also. Next, anomalous behavior of fluorine. Anomalous behavior of fluorine. So we know that again the second period elements, they can show some abnormal properties compared to the third period elements. Again the same everywhere. The reason is due to, what are the reasons? Small size, high in case of fluorine, it is smaller in size, high electronegativity. And one more important point here, low bond dissociation energy. We just know, we have discussed that fluorine is having low bond dissociation energy. This is also one of the abnormal property. Next, as usual, unavailability or absence of vacant d orbitals. Absence of d orbitals. So these are the few reasons to show the anomalous properties, where mostly if you see the oxidation state of fluorine is -1. The remaining can show positive oxidation states also, but fluorine can show only one, that is -1 oxidation state. And fluorine can form only one Halley's acid, that is it can form only HOF, fluorous acid, hypofluorous acid. The remaining can form Halley's acid, halic acid and perhalic acid, that we will discuss later. And if you see out of all halides,
sir కొంచెం పైకి వెళ్తారా
HF may be present in the liquid state. So here HF is liquid, but the remaining hydrogen halide, they are gases in nature. Why? Because due to the strong hydrogen bond. You can observe in case of hydrogen fluoride hydrogen bonding, but remaining halides cannot form the hydrogen bond. So these are the few anomalous behavior of fluorine compared to the rest of the group elements. Fluorine can form only one oxyacid. There is a hypofluorous acid. The remaining can form various oxyacids. And also you can write most of the cases fluorine, the chemical reaction is very high. So chemical reactions of fluorine are exothermic in nature. fluorine chemical reactions. Exothermic in nature.
Sir, HOF ante
Now we'll see oxidation state, chemical reactivity, chemical reactions. You can say chemical properties of halogens. In that, first we'll go with oxidation state. Just now we know that according to anomalous behavior, fluorine can show only one oxidation state, -1, but the remaining halogens, chlorine, bromine, iodine, they can show oxidation states. Apart from this -1, they can show +1, +3, +5, +7, higher oxidation states also. Some other variable oxidation states. And here you should remember one important point. Sometimes questions can be asked in which case we can see the +1 oxidation state, when +3 oxidation state, and when +5 and when +7 oxidation state. This type of question. And if you see the electronic configuration of these halogens, that is NS2, NP5. So all chlorine, bromine, iodine, they are having d orbitals also, Nd0. Let me take this box diagram. NS2, this is NP5. Next we have Nd0. This is the ground state electronic configuration. It is called ground state electronic configuration.
sir, once can you scroll up, sir?
We can see in ground state electronic configuration, it can lose one electron, this single electron, or it can gain one electron to satisfy its octet configuration. So it may show either +1 or -1 oxidation state when electronic configuration is present in ground state. This point you should remember. -1, +1 oxidation state, they can exhibit in ground state. Very, very important. Then to show the +3 oxidation state means what? It should lose 3 electrons, or three single electrons should be available. So this one of the electron can excite. You can see here. And this electron will excite into the Nd level. Then we will get electronic configuration. So +3 means it should form 3 bonds. That is possible by the formation of 3 bonds. To form 3 bonds, we require 3 unpaired electrons. And to get 3 unpaired electrons, so one of the electron will excite from Np level to the Nd level. Now the electronic configuration will become like this. We have 3 unpaired electrons. These 3 electrons are responsible for +3 oxidation state. When this state is called first excited state. First excited state. So you can say +3 oxidation state is possible in first excited state. Very important. Then after +5 oxidation state, to get the +5, it should form 5 bonds, and one more electron, it will excite to the d subshell. Then you'll get new configuration. Now d orbital, it is having 2 electrons. Now total unpaired electrons 5 electrons. So in this particular case, it can show +5 oxidation state, and that is called second excited state. So in second excited state, halogens can show +5 oxidation state. This is possible in second excited state. Next, to show the +7, so one more electron from s orbital, it will shift to the d. then you will get the new electronic configuration. Here 1 electron, here 3 electrons, and now D subshell, it has 3 electrons. Total now 7 electrons. These 7 electrons are participate in bond formation and they can show +7 oxidation state. This is the third excited state. So +7 oxidation state is possible in third excited state. And this is like this. They can show variable oxidation states +1, +3, +5, +7. In first excited state +3, second excited state +5, and third excited state +7. You should remember these points here. We can start the class here. Remaining chemical properties that we can discuss in the next class.